Nichole Runyan. This is speech number 3. Here are my note cards. My audience will introduce themselves.
I'm Andrew. I'm Scott.
Joanne.
Gary.
And I'm Robin, the camera girl.
Okay. Have you ever looked up into the night sky when away from the city lights and admired the beauty of the many glimmering stars? Have you ever just taken a moment to have reverence for the pure magnitude of outer space? Or perhaps even felt a personal connection to the universe because after all we are made up of the same basic materials? I know I feel this connection and many others do as well. From a scientific point of view, this connection can be related to an ancient science called astrology, defined as the study of movements and relative positions of celestial bodies, interpreted as having an influence on human affairs in the natural world. Meaning this is the study of how our universe affects our inner world and day-to-day life, or more simply put, as above, so below. I would love to share the information I have gathered on astrology's history, basic understanding, and personal use with all of you today. So, where did astrology get its beginning? The roots of astrology begin with the earliest civilization. Maps of the stars existed long before maps of the earth. Archaeologists have found cave paintings, mammoth tusks, and bones marked with lunar phases as far back as 30,000 BC. The Babylonians continued what the Sumerians started by inventing the first astrological system. Over thousands of years, they created the zodiac wheel that we use today around 700 BC. The oldest known horoscope chart is believed to date back to 409 BC. Later, in 140 AD, the modern names for planets and zodiac signs were formed from Greek literature. Then, during the 5th century AD, Western astrology disappeared for 500 years when the Roman Empire fell. Astrology then resurfaced in the 1200s and was flourishing, becoming an intrinsic part of culture, practiced by doctors, astronomers, and mathematicians. This is until later on in the 1600s, when the church gained power and it was seen as heresy and superstition during the Inquisition. Galileo himself was found guilty of heresy and had to renounce his astrological beliefs to save his life. Jump forward to the 1900s, when renewed interest in spirituality and mysticism in England invigorated astrology again in Europe. Which then leads us into current day, where we have both amateur and expert astrology being practiced with a split worldview, where some believe it's truth, where others think it's a bunch of hocus pocus. Now that you know the history of astrology, what are the basics to understanding how astrology works? As you just heard, astrology is the observation of the interplay between the planets and our Earth. Through thousands of years of observation, two things have been noticed. Each planet represents an energetic part of our being or a component of life, such as emotions, communication style, or love style. And the second being the position of each planet in the heavens indicates the style in which the planet's component is manifested. Astrology observes that the positions of the planets at the moment of your birth indicates the style in which each planet's component is manifested into your life. Basic astrology takes 4 things into account: the planets, the zodiac signs, the houses, and the aspects. From our view on Earth, the planets, sun, and moon appear to orbit around us. As they orbit, they travel through the 12 zodiac signs. The 12 signs of the zodiac are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. They are then divided into the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air, each element containing 3 of the zodiac signs. The elements are known to express the indispensable nature of the different signs. Along with the 12 zodiac signs, there are 12 houses in astrology. They represent the areas of life in which the planets and signs operate. In one word, I will describe the essence of each house, starting with the self, money, communication, home life, passions, systems and order, partnerships, death, higher education, status, humanitarianism, and lastly, psychic and subconscious. To visualize this, you can draw a circle. This circle is sliced into 12 zodiac signs. The planets fall into one of the 12 zodiac signs and into one of the 12 houses. The best way to understand how these two wheels interact is to imagine the wheel of the houses laid on top of the zodiac wheel. These wheels are constantly moving at different paces. The zodiac signs are dictated by the annual rotation of the sun, while the houses represent the Earth's 24-hour rotation around its axis. As the wheels are turning, this is where aspects come into play. They are the angles and degrees that describe where the houses, planets, and zodiac signs lie at that specific time. Depending on the angle or degree, the aspects describe either a positive or a negative trait. Modern astrologers have evolved and proclaimed that all aspects can be used constructively. Lastly, in what ways can practicing astrology benefit your daily life? Thankfully, there are generators online that will do all the heavy lifting for you, requiring only your name, birth date, time, and location. You then are able to decipher your birth chart and acquire a powerful tool at understanding yourself on a deeper level. Your natal birth chart shows the lifetime challenges that your soul has chosen to work through during this incarnation in order to evolve to higher levels of consciousness. The chart also indicates the potential of each individual as well as past life gifts and talents. It clearly shows the direction of the soul's evolution in this time. When we draw our first breath, the energies of the planets moving through the various constellations of stars and planets in our sky energetically imprint upon us. Your soul has chosen this auspicious time for its incarnation. This energetic imprint serves as a guide or map of your emotional and mental patterning that you have brought with you into this new life. At birth, our personal internal wiring system is thus set in place. The natal chart is a model for that wiring or circulatory system. Evolving into higher consciousness, which is our soul's purpose, occurs when we are willing to address all the unevolved and unresolved aspects of ourselves, becoming aware and conscious of them, and then consciously choosing to act differently and more constructively to our previous patterning. The natal birth chart is a tool for defining these patterns, determining when these patterns are likely to be replayed and when issues are likely to arise from the subconscious and how they can be best handled for the advancement of the evolving soul. Each of us is incarnated with major psychological themes to be worked through this lifetime, and during our lives these themes will repeat themselves until such time that we can become aware of them and consciously address them. These themes can remain in our unconscious minds all our lives and we will revisit, retrace, repeat, and relive them until such time as we become self-aware and conscious of ourselves in action. So therefore, knowing and understanding your birth chart is invaluable to your positive growth, as well as understanding others on a deeper level. So now you know the basics of astrology, starting with the history into how it works and how practicing this science can benefit you in the long run. There are many different ways to get to know yourself better, and all of them are great. Astrology just assists us to look at our past, present, and future choices, triggering insights that allow us to examine our unconscious decisions. It certainly assists us in having more compassion for ourselves, for our past mistakes, and for our tendency to struggle when we did not know better. As we know better, we do better. This means as we become more aware and higher in consciousness, life becomes easier.